Okay, good evening, everybody. I make it 9 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Moore. I'm area manager with Arbonne International. And this is the last training of this year, which is unbelievable. I can't believe that we're heading towards the end of 2017 already. My training's a little bit different than what my normal training would be. I normally am quite specific and business focused. And you'll see from the training tonight, it isn't specifically about Arbonne, but it will impact your business and your life in general, because it's all about understanding how to declutter your mind by decluttering your life. And that has a massive, profound impact on every aspect of your life. So if I'm not talking about Arbonne, don't worry, it is completely relevant and it will 100% support your businesses for 2018. Before I get on with my training, I'm going to just go through some really important recognition and updates for you, so you know what's going to be happening over the next month or so with events. So that's my training, which I'll come up to in a minute. And weekly recognition. I absolutely love this page. You know, new people that are coming on board. Absolutely fantastic that you guys have made the decision to build an Arbonne business. You're going to absolutely love it. I'm jumping ahead. So I'm just going to recognise these people individually. I was really excited when I read this first one about Imogen. Imogen Marchant obviously is Nicky Marchant's daughter, and she's just turned 18, and that's incredible. I mean, well, how amazing to bring your own daughter into the business. I can't wait for that day. I've only got 16 years and 2 months to wait, and then I can bring my daughter on board in my business as well. So well done, Nikki. I think that's fantastic. Imi's going to be incredible in your hands. You've also sponsored Simon Allison, so well done. For myself, this is a great week in terms of a sponsor. So Dana Rowald is actually my first German consultant, and she's young and enthusiastic and amazing. She's going to be living in the UK for the next 8 months and then moving back to Hamburg. So she's literally going to be positioning herself as Arbonne launches in her country. So I'm so excited about that one. Kaylee Goby, sponsored by District Manager Rachel Fitt, welcome. Mary Hillier, sponsored by IC Victoria Evans. Chelsea Goby, sponsored by District Manager Donna Wrightham. Ashrita Dryden, sponsored by Pale Seth. And Yoko Gar, sponsored by Area Manager Jennifer Cowie. So welcome, guys. And then I love this mid-month chart as well. So for those of you on the call that don't know what this Rogered is, this is actually the Roger Bannister Award. So this is when you hit your maintenance for whatever level of the business that you're at by the middle of the month. Oh my God, look at the Marchant region, absolutely flying. So we've got District Manager Area Andrea Spies, Executive District Manager Claire Slaney, and District Manager Andrea Phillips, all hitting their Roger. So well done for you guys. We've also got District Manager Tina Helsop, who's sponsored by Area Manager Caroline Stalker. We've got Caroline Stalker, who's sponsored by Carol Sutton-Houghton. We've got Veronica Saragova, sponsored by Claire Pasotti, and Monique Harris, sponsored by Carlan Carpenter. So well done, guys. Okay, so for everybody on the call, you need to make sure that all your customers and all your consultants know if they're looking to order product, they have to get their orders in by Wednesday, the 20th of December, just to guarantee Christmas delivery. We've obviously got that amazing additional promotion that's come on with the additional 20% off tons of products. So make sure that you get your last minute sales in this week. We've still got a whole week of Christmas shopping left. However, our orders need to be in by midweek to actually ensure they're going to be here in time. So as I said, this is going to be the last training for the year. So we're going to have a little break, and the next one's going to start on the 7th of January, and that'll be hosted by Daniela Wells. So she'll be back from my lovely holiday then. Can't wait to hear all about that. Okay, we've got some fab stuff actually. When I was putting these together, I thought these are fantastic mixture of ways of getting the Arbonne message out there. So not only have we got an online presence with Discover Arbonnes, we've got loads of Discover Arbonnes that are happening, tons of training. So there's so much on over the next couple of months to set you up for a really amazing 2018. First one that's going to be happening is Wednesday, the 20th of December, is going to be a Facebook Live by DM Catherine Wilkinson and DM Kelly Bromley. So anybody that's interested in the business, get them to have a little look on Facebook Live. It's a really easy way of introducing the business if you don't want to get them to go to a live DA. And this is fab. I can't wait to hear this. I find it really engaging listening to other people's conversations rather than just necessarily hearing one person talk all the time. So on the 2nd of January, we've got Sophie Rees, who's going to be interviewing Angela Taylor about her Arbonne journey. And again, if people are interested, just get them to have a listen. They may find that approach is a much, much better way than actually standing in front, going to a big event as a Discover Arbonne. So our monthly region training is going to be in Stamford for January, and that's going to be hosted by ERVP Laura Leggett and RVP Nikki Marchant. So it's going to be on Monday, the 8th of January, and everybody's welcome. That's going to be a 7 o'clock start. This looks like a great live DA to go to. We've obviously got 3 presenters, ERVP Danny Wells, ERVP Laura Leggett, and Executive Area Manager Tony Hall are going to be doing the Discover Arbonne in Melton Mowbray, and that's on Thursday, the 18th of January. And then I'm sure Fiona's going to get some posters to us for these too, but she's just given me these dates. So we've got Discover Arbonne on Monday, the 15th of January, and in Peterborough, we've got it on Wednesday, the 24th of January. This was what I was most excited to see. We haven't actually had many product days available to us over the last few months. Product training days. This is specific, all day, 9:30 till 4. So if you have any concerns or you don't feel quite confident enough talking about the nutrition or the skincare, this is the course to get yourself on. It literally is going to be £5. It's going to be located in Stamford. And all morning is going to be concentrating on the nutrition, and then all afternoon is going to be on skincare. So you're going to come away from there really empowered and feeling really confident to be able to talk to your clients and your prospects about those 2 things. And then this, our Amazing Leadership Academy. I can't actually believe it's a year already. It feels like 2 minutes ago that we were actually at the last one. Oh no, 6 months. Yeah, 6 months ago. Sunday the 4th of February, 10 till 5. It's in Kettering. Tickets actually early bird until the end of this month are only £15, and that's for the whole day. If you don't book before then, it's only £20, so it's only £5 difference. We've also got our National Vice President Fiona McCarthy speaking. We've also got a keynote speaker who is MVP Daniela Copolaro, and if you don't know her, she's Director Hetty Gifford. Absolutely phenomenal. So it'd be great to hear from another MVP as a sideline to us. There's a link here, and we'll also post it again in case you haven't seen the link, so you can get your tickets by the end of the month to make that saving. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Moore. As I say, I'm an area manager. This is my family and my tribe. So my little girl, who is actually nearly 21 months almost, and my 2 doggies and my husband. That is my why, the reason that I am doing this business. I've been doing the business properly for about 4 years, but really I've only just got my teeth into it in the last couple of years and understand what an amazing opportunity that we've got today. The issue for me over the last few months is I've really struggled with the clutter of my mind. So I've struggled to get a balance with being a mum and having a business and fitting in my Arbonne business and supporting my husband with his business. And I've found that my brain feels like this. I feel like I've got 1 million things going on. in my mind, and none of them are actually very, very positive or in a good train of thought. And what I wanted to desperately do is get out of this process of this cluttered thinking. And that's what very much inspired me to do my training today, because this massively impacts on every aspect of your life. It impacts on your business, your relationships, your work, your Arbonne business, your children, everything. We really need to free our minds up. And in doing so, it allows us to have fresh energy and allows us to get much better perspective of what we really want out of our lives. And that's easier said than done. I really struggle with sitting and meditating for ages. I can do it for a few minutes and then I find that my mind is drifting off. So I appreciate meditation is obviously the way to unclutter your mind, but the reality of it for me, I struggle on a day-to-day basis. So what I really, really loved was something that I've learned over the last couple of months, which I'm going to do my training on with you guys today. It's about how to unclutter your mind by decluttering your life. And when my friend, who isn't in Arbonne yet, a really good friend of mine recommended this book to me, I did think that it sounded a bit wishy-washy, because the title of it is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I thought, oh my God, what is she getting into now? And I love personal development, but this title, I just thought, I just can't see how that is gonna, how that is really gonna work. The life-changing magic of tidying up. How can tidying up be life-changing? And anyway, she was so passionate about the impact it had in her life that I was just compelled to actually read this. And I know in Arbonne we have tons, so many books that are available to us to read, so many suggested reading lists. And, if you're like me, my bookshelf is full of lots of books, so I probably haven't read as many as what I should have done. So what I want to do over the next 20 minutes is give you a synopsis of this book, which will actually allow you to put these things into practice straight away without you even needing to put this book up, pick the book up. If you have chance, of course, read it, because it is phenomenal. It will go into the depth and the psychology of why we have possessions. But even just by having this 20-minute call, if you start putting it into practice straight away, I promise you it will have a massive, massive impact on your life in so many ways. It's unimaginable. Okay, so this is what I said. Your real life begins after you put your house in order. That's like the opener of it. I thought, wow, it's pretty bold. Before I read this book, didn't really think that I had an issue. I was a bit scatty. Things would be all over the place. I'd often lose my keys. I often couldn't find things that I was looking for. I'd often lose my phone. It would take me a while to find a dress that I was looking for. But I didn't consider that to be abnormal. That is what I've always known for my entire life. And so it was normal, right? But my husband, since I met him for 6 years, he said that I'm a hoarder. And I really took that really personally. I was like, a hoarder? How could you think I'm a hoarder? My house is incredibly tidy. If you came into my house, it looks really smart. You wouldn't think that I was a hoarder, because the reality of what people think hoarding is like this. It's like people that sit in boxes of stuff surrounding them, or have tons and tons of papers. And there's a real negative association to being a hoarder. And I didn't get it at all. I was offended by my husband when he said these things to me. After reading this book, I realised that actually, although this is extreme cases you can see on the screen here of people who have extreme hoarding, I was a much more tidy hoarder. So I don't know if any of you guys remember the series Friends. Monica in Friends, she was like really OCD and her house is really tidy. However, she had this like one cupboard which was completely full of stuff and locked, and nobody could go in it, and it was like her secret hoarding space. That was the reality of my cupboards. You know, if you open my cupboards and wardrobes, it all was a bit cramped and it all was a bit chaotic, but I was able to shut it, and then I didn't really think about it, or I thought I didn't really think about it. The truth was, it was always there, and it was always an irritation. And what this book does is teaches you how to tidy. And that sounds such a ridiculous thing, because you'd think that we all know how to tidy. But the reality is, you know, we don't. We're not taught how to do it, not taught how to tidy correctly. And this book puts you into that, into how to do it. Let me just move this out of the way so I can see. So, have you ever tidied madly only to find out too soon that your workspace was cluttered again, or your home space was cluttered again? That literally is the opener of the book. And immediately I was like, yes. You know, you spend hours and hours making your house really lovely, and then like a day or 2 or 3 later, it just looks chaotic again. And it's understanding the psychology of actually why that happens. And that's because we've never truly been taught how to tidy. What she's saying is, Mary Kondo's saying that you shouldn't have to tidy regularly. You should only have to tidy up once, but do it properly. The rest of your life is then about putting things back to where they actually need to be, which is really interesting. It's really interesting to get through the book to understand the psychology of this. It's fascinating. So if you decide that you're just going to tidy up a little bit every day, then you will literally be tidying forever. You have to get really militant and have to invest some real time into doing this. I had 37 years of stuff and habitual ways of being in my house that I had to correct. And that isn't just going to happen overnight, but that is the aim. The aim is to start looking at your life, break it down into segments which are manageable for you to do, and completely put your house in order. Aim for perfection. It needs to start being brilliant, and then you will find that you won't go back to your old ways. The moment you start putting this into place, 100%, you will start to see an impact in the rest of your life. It's so cathartic. It's incredible. So just start doing it and you'll feel really good about the process. It is lengthy. I'm about almost, I'd say I've got about a fifth to go. So all the personal bits that I've got to do. But it's so cathartic, and we'll go through a process now so you know exactly what to tackle. And this time of year is a fantastic time of year to do it. You know, that space in between Christmas and New Year where everybody just seems to be, you know, overindulging. Let's reset our life and get fresh and start what we want 2018 to be looking like. So how do you do it? It is actually so simple. I've read loads of books on decluttering, and there's loads of different, you know, like if you haven't used something for a year, then you should throw that away, that item away. Which actually is quite difficult for you to decide whether you've even used that item in a year. It's much, much simpler than that. It is establishing about your personal possessions, looking at them, holding them, and making a decision of whether this thing sparks joy in your life. Do you genuinely love it? Do you love these things? If you don't, then what on earth are you doing keeping them? And we'll talk in a bit about the psychology of this, because often we have emotional attachments to our stuff, and it can be very negative, because it can be holding things on from the past, which we really do not need to do. And we need to let go of that. And we need to be able to let new energy into our life by letting go of our old possessions that don't do anything for us. So the simple thing, if you just don't remember anything else in this session, is this. Does this spark joy? Do these items in my life spark joy when you're holding them? So practical steps to get started. Whatever you do, don't let your family get involved in your tidying. They will 100% put their emotional investment in your items and give you, and affect your decision of whether you're going to keep something or not. This is about you doing it for you. So this is something you have to do completely separate to them. They can do it for themselves. You can't do it for anybody else. It's about you. The key thing to this is don't worry in the very beginning of what you're doing, of where things are going to go. The important thing is to get rid of what you don't want and then work out the storage of it later. So discard first and store later. What we're going to be doing in this process is actually finding a home for everything that you own. So everything in your home will become set out that you, and it sounded, initially I was like, this is crazy, it's a bit OCD, but actually it just makes your life a lot more simple. If you know where everything is, it makes it a lot more simple for you to find everything when you need it. So there's a whole process. She's done this for years and years. She's an amazing woman. Her testimonials have had life-changing effects on people when they've gone through this whole process. So she says, start with your clothing. Now, for me, this was quite a scary thing because I've got 3 wardrobes of clothes. They are so tightly packed that I couldn't move them to see what was in there. My wardrobe was smelling a little bit fusty when I started this process, and I realised it's because my wardrobes are next to my bathroom, and because the clothes are so tightly packed, I was getting condensation that was forming behind the clothes. There was no air moving around them, and I was getting mould growing on the back of my wardrobes. Didn't even know it existed because my clothes were so tightly packed in there. So that in itself, the stale, fusty smell that creates and the energy that creates is just horrible. So you literally break it down into categories. So this was dresses I did first. Get every single item of clothing that you own and put it out on the floor in front of you. This is a scary, scary thing to do. If you're time limited, then do it in sections. So this was for me, dresses first, because I have loads of dresses. So you put them all out in front of you, and it is so scary when you start to put all your possessions out on the floor in front of you, how much stuff you actually have. It is scary. It's unnecessary when you start to actually see it in this way. So you put your clothing in front of you, you pick up something and you say, does this spark joy? Do I love this thing? If you don't love it, discard it. If you love it, put it on your keep pile and go through this process. If you're not sure, the chances are, if you're hesitating, that you don't love it, but put it to one side and you can always look at it later. But the key thing is to go with your intuition with this, go with your initial feeling, get rid and keep your pile of stuff that you're going to keep. With that pile of stuff that you're going to keep, you're going to rehang it all. You're going to hang it all in colour coordinated order, and you're going to rehang it in your wardrobe. This is profound, what this has. That it creates such a fresh energy. You are actually energizing your wardrobe by doing this. It's almost like the pieces of clothing feel valued. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you can imagine one of your old dresses or an old top that's shoved at the top of a wardrobe and hasn't seen the light of day, if you can imagine yourself as that piece of clothing and how you would feel as that piece of clothing, you're literally shoved in the corner. Nobody gets you out. Nobody wears you or loves you. You haven't seen the light of day. You stink and you're stale. That poor piece of clothing is not going to feel pretty good, and it's going to hold a real stale energy to it. Take it out, get rid of it. Somebody else is going to potentially love that piece, and you're not going to be able to. Same if you say things like, oh yeah, one day I'm going to wear that dress again. Are you really going to wear that again? Give it to somebody else who might experience joy from it, and you will then feel much better from it. It's incredibly cathartic. You do this with every single item of clothing that you have, jeans, etc., etc. By the end of this process, I had 20 bags of clothing that were going to charity. And there was no way before, if you'd have said this, that I'd have thought I needed to really get rid of anything at all. So to have it with an open mind, make sure you're looking at every single piece of item, and then get rid, bag it up. It's going to go to charity. It's going to go to a better place where it's going to be loved by somebody. So we're going to energize our wardrobe to start. And then this is the process that she's put down in her books, the orders to do it in. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but it's the same process. You're going to look at all your books, establish which ones that you really love, that you do want to read, that you do want to keep, and have them on display. Don't have books stored in boxes. You are never going to look at them. Don't have novels that you think, someday I'm going to read that. If it's years and years, just get rid of it. You know, somebody else is going to read it. Same with your CDs, DVDs, skincare and makeup. Obviously, we don't need to worry about this because everything's Arbonne and we love all of our Arbonne, so we're going to keep all of that. But if there's anything that's sitting in your drawer and you're not using, get rid of it. Same with your accessories, any valuables, and then as you can see on the list, electrical equipment. I went through my kitchen cabinets and got rid of 3 boxes of gadgets that I don't really ever use, and I was just keeping them just in case. And the last one, which I've separated here, so I've done the whole list apart from the sentimental items, because that is, I think, where a lot of emotional energy is kept. You know, your photographs, letters, cards, all that sort of stuff. But in her opinion, you don't need to keep all of that. It's, you know, it's stuff that's holding you to the past, and it's stuff that's preventing you from moving forward in the future. So that's my last bit to do, is sentimental items. And as you can see, I'm stalling on doing it. The thing to remember is just to follow your intuition, and it all will be well. You may find that you are going to feel quite sick in this process. The person who gave me this book, she had sickness and diarrhea. It's almost like you're ridding your body of these toxins that you have associated to having this all this emotional energy. It's lifted from you by getting rid of all this stuff that you don't want. And it's very much a case of, if you're struggling to get rid of things, it's an attachment to the past or an anxiety about the future. So if you're holding something, you don't know whether to get rid of it, the question you need to ask yourself is this because, is it an attachment to the past or an anxiety about the future? And that will help you make a decision about how you're going to get rid of that thing. That is the problem that we do. And this is, in that extreme hoarding mentality, people are so lost that they actually just surround themselves with physical things to make themselves feel better. But the reality is, if we keep hold of those, we're just going to not know what we actually do want in our life. By getting rid of them, we're allowing the energy to dissipate, we're allowing fresh energy to come in, we're allowing our minds to become clear, and therefore we're able to make decisions about what we want to do with our life in the future. If you're stuck in any way in your life thinking, well, what am I going to do? This is a fantastic way to free your mind up, to give you the space to actually have that decision come to you, have that energy come to you to be able to make the decisions that you're struggling to make. And it's not easy. It's quite emotional to get rid of some of these things. There was lots of jewellery that I had that I never, not worn for years and years. Again, from ex-boyfriends and things like that I just didn't need at all. But that dredged up emotions and things, what happened in the past. And I've just got rid of it. And I just feel so much better for doing so. One thing you don't want to do is get caught up in the fact that you don't want to end up putting your stuff to one side and then working out some complex storage solution. It's not about you having being a tidy hoarder. It's about you keeping the things that you truly love and storing them away where you can access them as and when you need them. You know, if you do need to store it, she doesn't even suggest storing anything, having your wardrobe, not having seasonal clothes or anything like that, you know, having it all in your wardrobe. But she said just sensibly make storage decisions. Don't put things in boxes and put them out the way. If it's photographs, don't put them in boxes and put them in the loft. Put them in albums and put them on display, so you're going to use them, enjoy them. And really learn to appreciate your possessions. Unfortunately, we are now so driven by our material possessions and we've got so much around us that we don't appreciate the things that we've got. Our possessions work really hard for us, you know, whether it's your shoes or your house or your jewellery or your handbags or your clothes, whatever it is. And all the time we're learning in Arbonne, you know, to be grateful for the things that you have in your life. 100%, you should be grateful for the possessions that you have, and you should love the possessions you have. You shouldn't be just shoving things in a drawer. You know, really, really learn to love the things that you own. So the magic of tidying really does dramatically improve your life. I was very surprised that it would have the impact that it does. And if you just start it, even if you just do, right, I'm just going to do my dresses and clothes, you will feel completely different. By the end of this process, I had Emmaus, which is a homeless charity, local charity. They came and bought a Luton van, and I gave away a whole garage worth of stuff, which was clothing, furniture, electrical items. I mean, like, there was all sorts in there. It was absolutely ridiculous. But it filled my garage, and they come and collected it. And what it's made me realise is we really don't need all this rubbish in our life, you know, and it's really made me appreciate the things that are in my life. And so I can't stress enough how important it is. And I'm running out of time now, so I'm just gonna wrap up. This is the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying. I hope you've got enough from it to go away and actually do it. But if not, get the book and really understand the psychology of the decisions we make about our things, because it will massively impact you in every aspect of your life. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really loved reading this book. If you have any questions about it, then please feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And have a wonderful Christmas. I can't believe, like, it is going to be just next week. So have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll look forward to seeing you all on the 7th of January 2018. Thanks very much. Bye.